Hello YouTube, it's the Covenator here, bringing you a new play series on Wing Commander. That's right, I'm going old school on this one. Going to hop out over to the website and have a look at robertspaceindustries.com, or no, apparently we're going to talk about ribs. We're going to talk about Rib City Grill. No, not Rib City Grill, Robert Space Industries. There we go. There we go, Star Citizen, it's an alpha, it's just going to get better. I mean, some people are like, it's buggy and it just doesn't work. You know, it's an alpha. It's going to take some iteration to get it to where it needs to be. But Star Citizen is kind of the multiplayer MMO, and then of course you got Squadron 42, which is going to be the single-player campaign that's a little bit more reminiscent of the old Wing Commander games where you have missions and that's part of an overall campaign. And both of these games are being designed in parallel, and it's completely crowd-funded. There's no publisher here. They've raised over $100 million, and I think that proves one thing and one thing only. People still want to play a Chris Roberts game, and they want to play Wing Commander. It's going to have an all-star cast, Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill. It's going to be great. So there's my referral code. If you're interested in Star Citizen or Squadron 42, use that code and you'll start the game with 5,000 credits. So going to hop out to GOG Gaming. That's where I picked up Wing Commander. And it's you can see GOG has got lots of cool old school games. The Ultima, Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights. And the thing that's cool about GOG, it's not like Steam where you have to be online. You download the game, it's DRM free, you own it, no copyright protection, play it, it's yours. That's really how it should be. Not knocking Steam, but sometimes it's just such a pain in the butt. It really is. Especially, you know what, I'm not going to even go into that. It's not worth it. Anyways, Wing Commander is emulated by DOSBox, which emulates DOS. And there may be some of you that really don't know what DOS is, but think back before Windows, everything was command line. And having a look here at some of the configuration files, you actually don't have to do this. Everything's already set up. I was just coming in here just having a little bit of fun and just kind of reminiscing, because back in 1990, you had to set up these configuration files and these batch files and stuff. You had to know what interrupt your sound card was on or what base address it used. You had to have a very good knowledge about your hardware and about DOS, and it was cool. I mean, I actually learned a lot about DOS and a lot about computers just to get these kind of games to work. And it's not a knock on the game, it's just, that's just how it was back then. So I want to take a look at some of the manuals here. And that was the other thing that was kind of cool of that era is, you know, nowadays things are mostly digital. Back then you had, you know, these big boxes that the game came in with, you know, 100-page manual and all this lore and all these maps and blueprints and schematics. I can remember Ultima Online, or not Ultima Online, that was a little later. Let's see, it was Ultima. It coming with like this cloth map. It was gorgeous. You had like this little metal pendant that you could wear around your neck if you wanted to. With lots of more material possessions. But it was cool because it made the whole thing a little bit more immersive. And the graphical quality of these games were not great, but your imagination kind of filled in the rest. And, you know, for me, Wing Commander was, I mean, that was kind of where it started for me as far as computers. Most people at the time playing Wing Commander was running an 8088 or an 286. I had a 286 that was running, I want to say like 16 megahertz. I don't know if that's right exactly, but I can remember later upgrading it to like a 386, 33, and just to play these games because they were so far ahead of like the Atari 2600 or even the Nintendo. I mean, you're talking 256 color graphics. But yeah, just flipping through this manual is just bringing back a lot of memories. I mean, it was a 3D space simulator that would just make your jaw drop. The graphics during the time were gorgeous. It was immersive. You had all these weapon systems, you had to, different weapon loadouts, different missiles, and different things you can do. And you had the wingmen that you had to direct too, right? And they were part of your story. And you had, as I was flipping through them, I was just kind of thinking, without really reading it, I can remember them. You had Angel, and you had Hunter, and you had Maniac, and I can remember. I can't remember which one, but I can remember there was one mission that I did where one of them died, and I was real kind of bummed out and wanted to reload. But it wasn't just the wingmen, it was the actual missions themselves, and that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. You had these different sectors that you fought in, and depending on if you won or was winning the missions, you kind of went one way, so you go 1 to 3, or if you lost, or maybe it was the other way around. If you won, you went from 1 to 2, and if you lost, you went from 1 to 3. But basically what that was doing for you is you were getting different missions. There was like 40 missions or something like that, but through a single playthrough, you may only play like 18. Like if you aced it and you went through and you won every single one, you'd play 18 missions. But on average, you would have like maybe 21, 22 missions that you play through. But what that did, and why I'm making such a big deal about that, is because you could play it a second time and you would have different missions that you would fly. And of course you got the story that goes along with it, with talking to the people on the space station or talking to your wingmen. So anyways, what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for a little bit of a cheat sheet, because I don't remember how to play this game. There was a lot to it. It wasn't as complex as, let's say, Microsoft Flight Simulator, but you had a radar, you had to know what all the different colors of the radar meant, you had to know all your different views, how to switch between your damage displays and your weapon displays, and it was, looking at your map and figuring out where you're at in space, and waypoints and where you need to go, and there was a lot to it. And of course I'm going to be flying with joystick, and just reading through it here, it's telling me how to use afterburners and all that, but one of the other things I'm seeing here is that, to increase your speed, you would hold button 2 and then move the joystick. And that's because, guys, there was no throttle slider back then. There was no throttle slider, and there was no twisting in the joystick. It was basically like an Atari 2600 controller. One of my favorite gaming consoles of all time. So anyways, there's the Holy Grail. That was the cheat sheet that I was looking for. That's got all the commands on it. And we are going to play some Wing Commander. I'm really excited to do it, and we'll get started in the next video.